weren't giving us that, and they were pretty blunt about it. They were like, "No, we're not going to go there. This is the way we're going." So Jiho actually got kicked out and stuff of the
Was he a
Discord.
futter? Was Jiho a futter back in the day?
He
Is that what you're
was
saying?
he was just very upset, and he was telling very real things to the community, and they didn't like that. And I was getting kicked out too. Like I didn't get kicked out, but Jiho did get kicked out of the Discord. And then
Wow.
in that motion, he started with Axie Infinity, which was like a blessing in disguise, like to be moved over to another project like that. And from there, Axie, like we met Trung, and Trung told us, Trung was telling all the new people, like, I'm starting this new game. Like, it's more about, like, it's like the breeding concept is still there, but I want to actually build a battle system with them. And my first impression of the Axies was like, they're kind of funny looking. Like, they look kind of potato-ish in a sense. It was very an interesting thing. But I said the one thing that is true about them is that they're unique. I have never seen anything like an Axie before. Like, it's not like something that
Yes.
someone copied from Pokemon or copied from them. The art style was very unique, something that was not replicated at
Isn't
that
there
time.
some kind of weird genius in the parts that Axies are made out of where it's not just vegetables, it's not just fruits, but that's part of it. It's like kind of cutesy things, it's kind of random things. It's like the
Yeah.
Trump hairdo, there's like memes mixed in there. It's actually
Hmm.
pretty cool, and you start to attach yourself to the feeling. Like when I see Rosebud, I think, okay, healing. I don't care what version of the game it is, that better give me some sort of restorative property, because that's what I
Hmm.
see with it. Same with Pumpkin. Pumpkin is the brick wall, and I can
Hmm.
see all sorts of different acts. Even in like an Axie fighting game, Pumpkin
Yeah.
should be like representative of a shield of some sort. At least in my humble opinion. So anyway,
Mhm.
I love that. It's so cool that even back when you were seeing them as internet potatoes, you saw that. That's
Yeah.
that's great.
Mhm. And he just like just to continue on, like so
Yeah.
Jiho brought us in. He was like looking for community members. He got like some of the top people in our other community. He got like Freak, he got like Cloud White, he got me. He got so many different people involved in Axie because we all really wanted the next step. We all
Mhm.
wanted that next step, and we felt that Axie Infinity would give us that next step. It wasn't just breeding, it was actually going to have gameplay to it,
Right.
and we were sold. We were sold on the idea. There was a lot of projects promising the same thing, so maybe in a sense we got lucky. But I know Jiho. I know Jiho. He doesn't like. He researches a lot, and he doesn't like to jump into things that are like he knows that are like kind of dumb or whatever. So he was. If he was so sold on it, we were like, there must be something. Jiho has a saying. He always says, or he used to say, "No Jiho, no FOMO." So if Jiho's not involved, there's not going to be any FOMO for that game, and it
Wow.
kind of has come out true in the past from
Yeah.
what I've seen.
Still, that's a bold statement, but I like the confidence. Like that's the kind of guy you want to get behind, right? A
For sure.
natural leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you get introduced into these internet potatoes, but back then it's like there was just breeding, and then auto battles came out. What was your impression of the auto battles version of Axie?
To be honest, since there was nothing like, it was like for me, we actually enjoyed it as we enjoyed that we had something to play with, like that the parts actually mattered,
Something's
that the
better than
parts
nothing. Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure that the parts were actually connected to like a form of skill or strategy to use them. They couldn't just be used like whatever order or whatever part. You had to find something very specific. So we liked the strategy behind it, but we did feel like eventually like we just felt it was very limiting in some ways. We didn't really have that interaction in the battle. Mhm.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I've also heard in my little bits of research and the conversations we've had in the past that you are the winner of the first Axie tournament. What version of Axie did this take place in? Was this the card game or was this the auto battle game?
This is that was the first tournament for the new version of the game. So
Okay.
the card battle. So V2, like people like to call it
All
now,
right.
version 2 of the
And like
game.
what season are we talking about here? Like season 1, season 2,
I
alpha?
think this was precursor to season 1. So the tournament was
Wow.
going to be the
Season
like we
0.
season 0, season 0, yeah. It was like basically they had released the card game, people were testing it. And just to like start up everyone excitement, they were gonna do this tournament called the Infinity Cup,
Ah, okay.
and there was a lot of things on the line on that one, because they had a token called Luna, and for a lot of people who don't know, Luna actually became AXX later on in time, but they were offering 3,000 Luna for the first place winner, and it wasn't a lot back then. But if you were to do the transfer today, it'd be worth like almost $300,000 just from winning that
You say
tournament
that
and
that's
stuff.
the Luna token. That's like yeah,
Hmm.
$50 right now, right? It's the same Luna, correct?
It's the same. Luna. No, 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 no.
Not Luna.
Luna. No, no, it is the same one.
Yeah,
AXX.
same one.
So yeah. So they just called it Luna, but then they converted all the Luna to become AXX later on, and
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So at one point, AXX hit 150, so that was almost worth $500,000. That original like 3,000
Wow.
AXX that you won. So it was very crazy.
Okay.
I knew there was something up when people were telling me like use your Luna to buy land. And I was like, I just don't want to sell it. Why would I use it? Like I just want to hold it. Like I'm such a big holder on things.
Hmm.
And since they were so persistently trying to get us to use it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm just gonna hold it and see what happens. And I think it ended up playing out well for me in the end.
Do you have land though? Are you a land guy?
Oh yeah, I bought land as well. I just didn't touch the Luna. That's the thing. I
Okay.
used my Ethereum to buy land, but Luna, I just was like, there's something odd about the way they're treating this token. And I was like, I remember Jiho was like, yeah, use it for land, use it for whatever. And I was like, what if I don't? And then he didn't really have a good answer for me. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hold it, whatever. And that's what I did with AOC as well. I got some AOC. I never rolled it. I still have AOC.
How many are we
And
talking here? Like how many mystics are we looking to roll before the end of time?
I only got two chances. So I have 10 AOC right now.
Okay. I have two
And
and
I
a half,
want to,
and one of
huh?
my other friends has 2.5. So
No
I
way.
can
You guys
roll
have
half.
enough.
Yeah, exactly. We went 50-50 on 5 AOC. So
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
with
my
you on
God.
that. We're gonna hold it forever, I think. But I love the
That's
idea,
crazy.
the potential of knowing that you could roll the last mystic. I love that. It's so cool.
It's insane. It's insane. Back then, it was easy to roll it, but I was like, I'd like to just save some. It's like part of history. Might as well save some of the AOC. And then I had five AOC, but then I went back and like I looked through everyone's account to try to like bring back all the AOCs to get one more like another chance to do it. So I contacted like everyone on Discord I could find to buy an AOC. And little by little I was able to piece it all together to find like how there's like an infinity gauntlet. Like it felt like I just like finally got all the stones and like was able to collect enough to make one origin Axie. Whether it's mystic or not, I'm not sure. That's gonna be like up to luck and probability, but I, it was a fun adventure for me to like seek out all these AOC holders and like just bring it all back together.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like a digital scavenger hunt in a way,
Yeah,
and I think like that's one of the exciting things about crypto is the potential, right, and the future and the prospects, and that's like you can see the sentiment in projects where certainly people love when things are delivered and when they can actually get their hands on stuff, but
yeah.
people also buy into hype and the future and the dream. And speaking of the dream, like for land, did you buy it when it was in the chest form, or did you just buy it on the market after a lot of it was rolled?
Yeah, for a lot of these projects, whenever Axie releases something new, I tend to just buy. Like I just enjoy the product so much that I just buy. Like so I bought it during the chess mode, definitely.
Mm, okay. Yeah, because that's one thing I've always thought about. Like, man, I wish I could have gotten land early. But back then, I don't know that I would have bought it. Like I
Yeah.
presented the option. It was such a foreign concept to me. And that idea of buying the pixel on this promise of a future land plot and just the idea of what it could look like. I don't know. I just don't think it would have seemed. There's no way I would have bought a Mystic one, right? A whole Ethereum back then. Like I was just looking back at. Do you remember your
Mhm.
first crypto transaction? I think mine was I bought zero point 0.3 Ethereum, 0.35 Ethereum worth like $100 in August of 2017. I think that might have been
Mm.
my first crypto purchase.
I don't remember the exact one. I would need to check my Coinbase, but I'm sure it's there somewhere,
Yeah.
located, in the history books of what it was. But it wasn't that big of an amount, I remember. It was very little, enough to buy myself a few crypto kitties, I feel.
Yeah, okay. So it was around that like crypto kitty time frame. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
that's so cool. I feel like it reinforces the general thesis of why we're here. That being able to do stuff is what's really exciting. And as more things get built on blockchain, it's just going to continue to attract more and more users because there's just
Hmm.
more going on. It appeals to a wider demographic of users, and that's like
Yeah.
the potential of Axie that gets me so excited. All these other games, like that's why I bought Land was really for the
Hmm.
SDK aspect, this ability to build on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like it's definitely like a lot of people say like, "Oh, all these OG people like they made this investment a long time ago, like whatever, whatever." But there's like a huge risk that you put into like when the game is not that big, like buying like AOC tokens, buying land when it really like first released, there was a huge risk. It could have never happened. Land could never be delivered. Technically, land is still not out yet. It's being worked on, but there's this huge risk you take, and
Hmm.
some people don't like that risk. But if you don't like that risk, you can't complain about someone else taking that risk and
Right.
it going well for them. It's just like it's almost unfair to the person who invested, not knowing the future, like not anything could happen in crypto, and but a
Yeah.
lot of us really believe that that Axie Infinity can deliver on what they're saying. Maybe they can't deliver as fast as you would want them to deliver. That's the difference. But if you have patience, Axie will almost always release a really top quality product. Like I've always seen that. Even the times that I've been scared, like when I was scared about land, Cloud White was out there buying up all the land. Cloud White is one of the OGs. He would buy up all this land. And I would be scared. I'd be like, Cloud White, you're buying like a lot of land here. And I feel foolish now because Cloud White took that risk and he has so much land now. I can't imagine how much it is total in like Ethereum, but he took that risk. He made
Yeah.
he made the effort. He went to buy land. Some people called him foolish for doing it, but shout out to Cloud White and respect to Cloud White. He was sold on the vision. He wanted to do it that way, and I just respect him. Like I said, I wish I could have changed back things, but he definitely took the risk and he gets the reward for sure on that one.
I mean, that's the hardest part. Even I, like knowing these
Mm.
trends, started falling into some of that psychology in this last dip. This kind of mini bear market that we saw in
Yeah.
January. It's starting to recover now, but you start to wonder, like, wow, it can fall really fast. I wonder if it can recover just as quickly. And depending on who you talk to,
Hmm.
you start thinking like, wow, I want to switch some stuff into like stable coins to prevent losses, but then you also start losing out on gains. And it's
Yeah.
hard to buy after you've lost a bunch of money and value of whatever it is, your AXS, your Ethereum, your RON, your SLP. Like when the whole market crashes, it feels like it reduces your buying power. And it's really
Hmm.
scary.
It,
And
it, it is. The reason, like, if I could just go a little off
please,
topic, hopefully
yeah.
not. The reason why a lot of us OGs, like people who were here when when Axie started, can bear a lot of these things better than other people, like more new players, is that when Axie launched, Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed shortly after from like Bitcoin crashed from like 19,000, almost 20,000 down to 5,500. It was a crazy crash. And also around that time,
Yeah.
Ethereum was at 1,200 and it crashed all the way down to $100. Like these crashes were like almost 80%, like people completely wiped down. But
That's
Jiho taught me something a long time ago.
oh,
He told me if you only lose if you sell, like you only lose if you sell at a loss.
mhm.
But if you believe in what you have, then just hold it because you're gonna lose anyways. Like the money's already gone anyways. So he always was like he's such a big holder, and his mentality to hold on a lot of these things he believes in has really saved him from making a bad decision or an emotional decision,
Mhm.
and just like selling out, and then everything just picked up. And as you guys know, when it hit 100, it like bounced right up afterwards almost. Like it took a little while, but Ethereum has been zooming back to like crazy numbers after that point. And because a lot of us saw this crash, like this is one thing I love about Axie Infinity. When things were going bad in that time, all these projects said, "We're the next CryptoKitty. We're the next this. We're the next best blockchain game. We're gonna do all this."
Mhm.
And they would call shots on Axie Infinity, saying like, "We're bigger. We're a bigger company. We have more things than Axie Infinity." And they were all fighting each other at that time to become like the best game going forward. So when that was happening, the crash happened, and a lot of these companies that started with Axie Infinity, a lot of them just gave out their announcements on their Discord or whatever, saying like, "We're sorry, the economy is not good. Like, it's not feasible to continue with this project because we don't know how long the bear market's gonna last."
Yeah.
The thing that Axie did, I'm sure all of them were terrified too, or nervous at least. But the thing Axie did, they continued forward. Like they kept building, they kept working towards releasing the actual product. They didn't just take everyone's money and run out the door. They were there to really build this project. Trung and Masamune had this vision for this game, and they just kept building, building through that. Jiho and Saika could have just said, you know what? This is too much for me. I'm out. Like, I'm gonna bail. But they stayed on, like knowing that you don't really know the future. It could never recover, but they just stayed on. And that's what I love about Axie Infinity is that they have a team that's willing to they really want to sell, like really want to work on this project and deliver what they're asked or what they're telling us they're gonna do through a bear market. It was easy for Axie to say the same thing as all these other companies. Like, let's get out of here. Like, it's over. Trunk could have said, like, no, it's not worth my time anymore. Like, we already made our money during the sale of AOC, but that didn't happen. Trunk believes in bigger things, and he believes that there was something more to this project, and he continued it on, and it was true testament to a lot of us early players that Axie is willing to go through that bear market. Axie is willing to go through it. Like it's insane. Like that's what brings confidence to me when I play Axie is like they just have this core team that's just so solid and stuff. And Jiho, of course, with the personality he has, he kept us going through it. Like he kept the community like as positive as possible. You know, when things are going bad, it's hard to get everyone positive, but we just stuck around. A lot of us
Yeah.
OGs stuck around. It was very um like I said, it's just very inspirational to see that. And my respects to Axie. A lot of new teams want to be like Axie Infinity, but you're truly tested when there's a bear market. Like your team is truly tested when you're in there. And Axie got like like the worst crash I've seen in my time in crypto, and they were able to survive it. And so now this crash that happened right now, yes, it was like a 40% correction, if not 50% in some areas. But we've seen worse. Like I said, we've seen 80%. We've seen like it collapse like crazy. So a lot of us are like, 40% drops.
This
Like
happens.
that's
This is just turbulence.
It's crypto. It's crypto. You know, it's like it could crash 40%. It can go up like 400%. Like it's just insane. Like that's why I always tell people, if you're investing in crypto, know that it can all go to zero. Know that that's a reality. Know that it's a risky investment. But if you're okay with that, like not everyone has that in them. Not everyone has that like feeling like they can bear like their market going down like that. And if you're that person, it's probably not the best thing to be in because it's bad for your health, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you have that ability to bear those kind of like one of the things I do whenever there's a bear market, I go and do something else. I don't try to play like I don't try to be like watching my wallet. Wallet's the worst thing you can do. You're gonna be motivating yourself or pulling yourself to making an emotional decision. So whenever there's a crash, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go like work or do something else because I still keep my 9 to 5 job, even though like Jiho has told me a lot of times you could probably retire on Axie. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna keep working my 9 to 5. Like it's a good job. I feel like it's not the worst.
Yeah, play it safe, and having a sense of purpose is good. You know, it's
of course,
definitely...
of course. And during those bad times, then I'm just busy working, doing my work.
Yeah,
and I could bear the market. Like I said, I could bear like the collapses and stuff. Everyone going crazy, doomsday.
totally.
Yeah. But like I said, it's just a different mentality for a lot of the early players. That's why when people get all shook up now, like the new community hasn't experienced that, and I think this was the first time they actually experienced it. But a lot of us OGs were like, you know, we know Axie's gonna release this land, maybe not fast, but they're gonna release the land. They're gonna release
And
the
Origin, yeah.
Origin battles, which I'm really excited for. That's the one. Like land is awesome. It looks like it might be delayed a little bit longer, but Origin seems like it's just right around the corner, and that's what I'm really excited. I love to play battles in Axie Infinity, so that's when I really want to play a lot. Like that's when I wanted to play so badly.
Totally, dude. No, that's I share that excitement, and Man, I appreciate the kind words, and like very well said. I agree with a lot of what you said about Axie and their history and what they built through, and how much how respectable that is. And that's ultimately like why I joined the team after talking to all of the
Mhm.
co-founders and especially Trung, and seeing the dedication and the thoughtfulness towards the vision and the ability to really think long term about the potential of this thing and really hammer home the Axie as a universe and a
Yeah.
platform and this workshop where the community can build things and integrate it into the universe, and we can all monetize it together and have this really cool interactive experience that's part of the metaverse. And
Mhm.
yeah, it warms my heart a little bit to hear other people say that, because I missed a lot of that. I saw Axie really early in like 2018 and went, wow, this game looks really cool, and then got distracted with Dota and various other stuff
Dota. Yeah,
in
it's
the real
fun.
world, running events and all sorts of
Mhm.
stuff. So yeah, I regret missing it a little bit. I wish I had put one foot on base and just paid a little more attention. I know it sounds like fantastical
Mhm.
now, but I had on my to-do list like investigate Axie Infinity for probably 6 months after I'd talked to
Wow,
Alex,
wow, wow.
and he gifted me some Axies in whatever 2018. And then
Mhm.
yeah, after a while I just went, am I ever really gonna do that? Nah, I don't know. And you know how it is. It's like sometimes you just get lazy with stuff like that, and you don't know what you're missing until you either dive in or you get in later and then look back and go, wow, I had this great opportunity and just, you know,
Yeah.
didn't
It,
do it.
it's
I don't
it's
have a great excuse. I just didn't do it.
yeah. I honestly I love that you joined the team. There's been times when I was like maybe I should join the team too. Like maybe I should do it. But I just like my personality is so crazy and Trung knows this. Like I I could be a good like obedient worker, like I can, but then I go crazy sometimes. So like I believe there's a story where in the early days, Jiho was like talking to Trung like, "What do you think about the idea of making Chuck part of like the core team or whatever?" And Chung was like, he thought about it actually. He was like thinking about the idea, and he's like, no, it's probably not better for. And I always laugh. But what I love to work with Axie, I do, and like a lot of times I feel like I'm so interconnected with like a lot of the core team. Like I know a lot of them. I used to
Mhm.
talk with Trung. I owe him tacos, fish tacos and stuff if he ever comes to LA. But I'm just so interconnected with a lot of them from the early days that I mean, the transition to core team someday may be a reality, but like I said, when I was younger, I was much more crazy for sure. I said a lot of things I shouldn't say on Discord. I should have gotten banned probably a few times in there.
Yeah,
But
but we all grow, and I think like
yeah.
acknowledging it and recognizing it and like committing to doing better in the future is really what
Mhm.
it's all about. Like that Axie code of conduct is a very real thing, and as we keep
Yeah.
building towards DAO, we need more community leaders that are willing to kind of just say what you just said. I mean, that alone is really powerful. I hope you recognize that. Saying like,
Mhm.
"Hey, I did stuff in the past that I kind of regret or I definitely wouldn't do now," and
Mhm.
it's admirable to be worried about that. But I think demonstrating that also shows like, well, hey, maybe this guy's like. Maybe it's forgivable, Maybe we can move on and bury the hatchet and see what else old Chuck Fresco brings to the table. Like I,
It was so incredible when I went to like one of the biggest reasons like there was a point like shortly after I won the world championship and I won season 2 of Axie Infinity, there was a point where I reached the point where I really felt like, what is there left to do here? This was before scholarships or anything.
I've done it
This
all.
was before everything. Like, I was like, what is there left for me to do? I've literally beaten everyone here. I've literally won season 2, which in history record, there's only 19 season winners, and I'm like one of them or whatever. So
Yeah.
historically, like, I'm like, what is there left for me to do? If there would have been scholarships, maybe I would have stayed, but because I was winning so much, I was like top 5 in like the first 5 seasons. Like people started growing animosity towards me. I started noticing it more, and a lot of the mods that became mods at the time were actually players themselves. So they had dealt with me before, and they were just like they were always trying to ban me. I would get messages, DMs about me like potentially getting banned and stuff.
Shit, bad boy
And
Chuck.
eventually, I just came to the realization that like in Batman, if you ever watch The Dark Knight, there's a quote from Bruce Wayne, and I might butcher it right here, but it says like you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain himself. So I just felt like that was my situation at the time. I either took a break from Axie, took a break from the community, and move on to do other things for the moment, because I was just really becoming like almost a toxic person, like to the whole community. People weren't able to compete with me that well because they were losing a lot and getting discouraged. So I told Jiho, like, I think I'm gonna take a break from the game. Like, there was a lot of things going on in my life at the same time
Hmm.
during that time, like family, friends, that I was like, I need to take a step back from like like competitively playing an arena. And yeah, I took a break. I told Jiho. Jiho was like legitly like sad. He later on told me he cried a little bit that
Wow.
night. Maybe a lot of
Wow.
dramatization.
I'd
but
like to see that reenactment. I mean, this is like Axie
uh,
history right here. The night that
I know,
Jiho
no,
cried because Chuck
Jiho
Fresco
cried
moved
because
on.
it's because we were so together. We had such a strong bond, and we do have a strong bond. And I was so involved in the early days that you grow an attachment to like the OG players, like because they
Hmm.
were there at the start. And he was sad. He was like, "Don't go, bro. Don't go." And maybe I'm dramatizing that a little bit in my head, but basically, he was sad that I left. They understood it, that I probably needed to leave for a while because I was this close on getting banned, I feel. And so I moved on. Like I moved to do my regular world life. A year and a half passed almost in that time period and in that time scholarships started getting developed.
Hmm.
A lot of new players came up that were very, very good competitively. Like the meta changed completely from when I played. We started getting players like Indez, Elijah, all these different top players now. There's so many now that I can't even name them.
Yeah.
But I remember one thing that me and Indez sometimes talk, like very little on Discord sometimes. But I remember him telling me that he remembers me playing in the tournament, the big tournament, the Infinity Cup. He remembers watching me winning the Infinity Cup. And low key, I feel like indirectly without realizing it, I was inspiring a lot of these players that would later come up to become like even better. By me taunting them and playing against them so aggressively, they started caring about playing better.
Yeah. You,
Before everyone was just casually playing like,
dude, you gave him a sense of purpose. You created the
yeah, you
storyline.
gave him like a little clap, like little like good. You know how like baseball, like t-ball games go, like good game. Everyone's a winner. I was
Yeah.
like, no, I want to destroy all of you guys. Like I'm not your friend. I'm the best player. You have to beat me in order to claim that title. And like everyone in the arena Discord channel was like gunning to beat me. Everyone wanted to beat me so bad, just maybe
I
just to
love
shut
it.
me up for once. And so a lot of these players like just started getting inspired. So I feel like I indirectly inspired Indez, and Indez indirectly inspired Elijah. So there's like a lineage.
I like that. No, I love it, dude. There's definitely some truth to that, though. You create ripple effects, and like there's a
Mm.
whole art to that. It's like in professional wrestling, they call that being the heel, right? You got to
The
have the
heel, the
bad
heel,
guy
yes,
for
yeah.
like Stone Cold Steve Austin's got to beat up somebody. Somebody's got to be that dude that comes in and is just like, I don't like you, I don't like what you do, and I'm taking you out. You got to have like somebody to rally behind. So that's actually really cool, man. That's something that a lot of people aren't willing to do, and that's so awesome. And I can see just like by the way you tell that story, it's like you enjoyed it. You get a sense of pride out of it. It was fun to be at the top and then kind of stick it to him.
Yeah, and there's a story from NYC NYC NFT or NFT NYC. I remember like a lot of for a long time when I left the game, I just felt like no one likes me in this community. Everyone dislikes me, and obviously for cause. But when I went to NFT NYC, like I come to realize that a lot of people like I was the first person that actually talked to them on the Discord. I was the first person who like, communicated with them. A lot of people don't realize I was mean to the competitive people, but to the newbies, I was actually really nice. And a lot of them like went up to me during events. They wanted to shake my hand, talk to me. One person called Crumb, like there's a picture I posted on Twitter. He literally was about to leave the event, but he really had wanted to talk to me. And guess what he wanted to talk to me about? Like he told me like, I know you, Chuck Fresco. he's like, we used to battle each other. And I was like, what? Like we did? Like I had no idea. Like I'm sorry. I said, I hope I haven't been bad or something like that. And he's like, no, like you would beat me sometimes, and then I would beat you, and then you would say like, because we would like reply to each other on the Discord, and whenever we beat each other, and he would when I would get lose, I would get mad at myself, but I would reply back to him when he's taunting me back. I would tell him like, oh, I'm just farming, bro. Like I'm just farming. Like I'm not playing for real. And Crumb like was like he was just so like filled with like joy. I almost felt like remembering these things that he actually beat the world champ at the time in like arena and stuff. And it was a really good moment. It made me realize like throughout NFT NYC, I realized that my influence wasn't completely negative like I originally
Yeah.
foresaw. Like a lot of people actually viewed me as the champion and stuff from the OG, from the original. Like nowadays, like Indez is like the champion, like
Hmm.
or Elijah is the champ, depending if you're talking about arena or
Sure.
like competitive tournaments and stuff. But like I was the OG champion, I feel like you could say. And I was talking to Jiho, I was like, even if I play competitive now, like I can't beat these monsters. These monsters are so good. And he's like, you don't need to beat him, bro. He told me. And I was like, why? He's like, because you're like the Babe Ruth of Axie. Like you're the original. Like you're the one. Like there's different eras to Axie, and you were just the best player in this era, in the starting era. You were the like things changed. You know, baseball, everything
Hmm.
changes. Like the
Hmm.
mechanics, people get better. There's better trainers. There's better logic or strategy.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, "You're like the Babe Ruth," and I was like, "You know what? I think I am. Like that. That makes sense to me." Can I compete with the new people? Probably not, but I'm in the top 1,000 right now.
Yeah, you
So
just have to stand your ground, right? Like you don't have
yeah,
to win every tournament, but you just have to win a couple of tournaments, right? You upset
yeah, yeah.
Indez once at one key moment, some AxieCon qualifier, and in comes Chuck Fresco and knocks out Elijah in the first round. Like, I don't know that like you don't have to win the tournament to send Indez to the lower bracket. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
And
No,
I
like
think like don't
it's a
don't
dream
sell
of
yourself
mine.
short, dude. Yeah, totally. You can get in there. It's a whole spectrum of competition. That's the great thing about esports. It's not just about getting first. It's about the journey of aspiring for first, believing that you can do it. But that every point of the competition has potential for like really exciting storylines and even to make big plays, like pull out axes that are
Mhm.
unconventional or, do things that are unexpected or set a trap that somebody falls into. Like all of these things are ways that you can stand out as a player and like have that
Mhm.
reputation as just like, oh, that Chuck Fresco, that's anyway,
And
food
you
for
wouldn't
thought.
believe it. You wouldn't believe it. The last time me and Endez ever matched up in arena, which was like let's say 6 months ago or something like that. I had just started back into playing arena. I actually got the win on him. Like that was like surprising for me.
Uh-oh.
And like Indez, I think
He's watching right
I
now, just like boiling over, just like I'm
oh my
coming
god,
for
I'm
you, Chuck
sorry, Indez.
Fresco.
I
He's
just
got
had
your
a
number.
I won the game and I was very surprised because Indez is supposed to be good. But I think I won that game. Later on, I think he did beat me again, but I think the last time, in my memory, obviously is biased. But I think I do have a win record on him from the
Yeah.
past. Yeah, but you never know. Like if I were to play him now, he'd destroy me. Like there's no question. That guy's a monster.
I have to set up a show match. We have to start building like some sort of Friday night like fights kind of a show match series so we can start reigniting some of these old rivalries, set the
Mhm.
stage for you to upset Indez with low stakes. Uh,
No, my god. I have nothing to lose. That's what I always thought. I have nothing to lose and everything to gain in that kind of matchup. That's why I would only want to match up with him if it's in a tournament or something where like it's
Mhm.
for real. Like, because I feel like in the other side, he's at a disadvantage. Because if he wins, he's supposed to win. If he loses, then he looks so bad for him. Like,
It's
so it's
true.
just a bad situation,
Yeah,
you know?
being the underdog is definitely easier from that lens.
For sure, for
But I
sure.
mean, dude, with the new rewards in the arena season, like I wonder at what point it's going to be worth it for old Chuck Fresco to hang up his 9 to 5 hat and just become an arena warrior. I mean, like paying down to 300,000 places is cool, but like the prizing is getting serious. Especially like AXS
Hmm.
has been going up since we announced that. Like, there's a world why by the end of season 20, AXS could be up even a little bit more. It's
Yeah.
not a bad payday, dude. It almost becomes worth it. And now there's more tournaments to compete in as well. Like, at what is there a
Yeah.
point where the ecosystem for Axie esports, like especially around Origin, becomes robust enough that you would consider being like a full-time player or even like just like a full-time streamer that's more competitive? Because if you're top
Mhm.
1000 right now, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I feel like I'd be twirling my mustache. Like, world domination is just a few steps away.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize I've actually been playing like in on so they can see my teams. Like I've been playing on Twitch a bit more. Like I used to play with teams that I like, even though they're not meta teams, but I just started adding a few meta teams to my lineups. Obviously adding my own twist to them, but I've been ranking up little by little. Like a lot of like it's been a little bit interesting. Like I was so like anti using a meta team, but once I started using a little bit of the pieces from meta teams, I can see my like MMR just like jumping up little by little, like by little by little. The more matches I play, I've been playing like 60 energy for the last 2 weeks almost. Like
Oh
just
wow,
consistently playing. Like a lot of
dude,
people are
you're
like,
training. You're
why?
ready for this season.
I want to. Wouldn't it be a great thing for the person who won season 2 to also win season 20 of Axie Infinity?
Ooh.
What a journey that would be and stuff.
Dude,
I mean,
now that's a sort.
obviously,
Now that's a follow-up interview right there, dude. If you pull that off, welcome back. I mean, that would be so cool. And
yeah,
what's crazy is you could do it too. It's possible. I know it's possible. I know it'll be hard and it'll be time-consuming, but there's a chance. There's a non-zero chance that Chuck Fresco takes position 1 in season 20. I want this story to be real, dude. Wow, the
yeah, and
competition's going to be fierce, though.
this one it's gonna be insane. Like I started a scholarship because like I like to learn all aspects of Axie. Like scholarships was one I never got into when I left. It wasn't even a thing. But when I came back, I was like, I want to start a scholarship, not for the financial reason for it. Like a lot of people like get scholarship because they want a financial thing. I wanted to start a scholarship to understand how it all works and stuff. And that's why I pay my scholars like a lot. Like they probably got paid more than I ever made on the scholarship. But I wanted to learn like how do you actually do that? How do you make these other Ronin accounts and then use them with Trezor? So I feel like I learned a lot doing a scholarship, and my scholarship, because of the rewards, obviously has to adapt.
Hmm.
I feel like the term scholarship is probably going to come to an end in the future. It's going to be more guilds or like people who want to play the game. I think a lot of
Hmm.
times scholarships got started with the mentality that you want to play to earn, or do you want to just earn. It just became earn basically. You don't no longer really wanted to play the game. You wanted to farm adventure nonstop, adventure mode. But you a lot of the people who were farming never got past adventure mode. They never learned any of the mechanics of the game. And now that this change is happening, a lot of them are in a bad situation because they're like, I don't know how to play competitor. Like I don't know how to play the game.
Right.
And it's just really bad. I feel like adventure mode costs two bad things to happen. One, it created like this environment where you have a whole group of people who never learned any of the mechanics of the game because you could just play the cards, and you would win basically. And
Hmm.
another thing it caused is just cause this mentality of play to earn to move away from play, like from actually playing the game. So a
Like
lot
it
of the new
almost should
people
be
that
like a compete to earn kind of a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like actually playing the game. So a lot of people I hear on Twitter, and I'll say this, you can remove it later if you like. A lot of people on Twitter like say like I invested in Axie Infinity, and like this game is an ish or whatever game. Like it's a terrible. They say a lot of bad words, obviously. Like in my mindset, I'm like thinking, why did you invest in something that you don't even like? Like, why would you do that? You should invest in something you actually enjoy. And that's the thing I I find ironic. Like you're bad mouthing the game, but you yourself, like you invested in this. You made a choice that you wanted to get into this. Maybe you went into it just to make money, but like with everything in crypto, like things can go up, things can go down. That's the reality of life. Like,
Yeah.
and if you didn't even enjoy the game, you invested in just to like I don't know how you say it, like to just jump the price, just to buy it and
Yeah.
like make a
It's
lot of
just
money. like get
It's a
rich scheme.
purely a financial incentive, not because you actually care about
Like,
what's happening in the underlying game. And I do think you're right, and I think that's why
mhm,
we're now seeing this shift from play to earn to play and
and
earn.
earn,
It's
yeah.
much more focused on the play part, where there's an earning component at the side. And obviously, if you're a competitive player and you're ahead of the curve and you can breed
Mhm.
stuff along with the cutting edge meta, there's absolutely ways that you can make money in the economy, as you can in a lot of other games out there as well. But in our world,
Yeah.
it's just a little more easy, a little more streamlined, and it's like part of the system, right? Everything is designed to be able to be sold on the Axie marketplace. So
Yeah.
yeah, I firmly believe that you should be buying things that you believe in, and
Yeah,
invest, like
for sure.
enjoy. And as you said earlier, when the bear market hits, it's much easier to hold through when it's like, well, I still like this thing anyway. So I
Yeah.
hope it goes back up. But if it doesn't, at least I have this thing that I kind of like. I remember why I bought it. I have a memory attached to it. That's been
Mhm.
my strategy, at least. That's how I
Yeah.
sleep at night when things go down.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like even in investing in stocks and stuff, like one thing I learned from Jiho, like I've learned a lot from him. That guy's real. He's even before he started investing in crypto, he was a really good investor in stocks, and it translates here very well too. So he told me like invest in things you use, invest in things you like. And so some of the stocks I love are Tesla. I love like Apple because those are products I use a lot. Um, and I just invest in things I like. Like, why would I invest in something like, for example, not to hate on Dogecoin people. Like, people love Dogecoin, and I know they have a community and stuff.
Not a
But
Doge guy.
not like I feel like a lot of people got into Dogecoin at 70 cents because the media and everyone was saying like Dogecoin has become the next Bitcoin. It's gonna be so crazy. And then
The
guess
one
what
dollar
happens?
psychology gets real too. Like, we're going to one
Yeah,
dollar,
yeah.
we're going to $1, and it's like
And
that's
then
arbitrary,
it was
right? Yeah.
going, everyone was getting hype. Dogecoin only grows when there's hype. So once the hype died at 70 whatever cents, collapse all the way down to like whatever it is right now, 14 cents and stuff.
Mhm.
But they weren't investing because they liked Dogecoin. They invested because they thought it could go higher. Like they're just trying to get rich quickly. And sometimes that's gonna hurt you a lot. Invest in things you love because that's really gonna help you.
Mhm.
Like I to say I love Axie, I think that's a very fair statement. Like I love Axie Infinity. I love the game. I love the team. Maybe everyone doesn't love them, but I'm investing in
Wow.
Axie Infinity because I really enjoy their product. Like they created like this is another thing I've always think is crazy. Axie Infinity tried to go through another system to do like second layer or do a faster way of doing transactions outside of the Ethereum blockchain.
Hmm.
They tried to go with another company called Loom, I believe, in the past.
Hmm.
And Loom was, yeah, I'm not sure if Loom is the name.
I think it
Please
is.
correct.
Yep, I
Yeah.
think you're right.
So they try to go through Loom because Loom was supposed to provide them like games with the ability to transact faster, to go through all these things. And Axie Infinity joined up with them. The problem is Loom's developers were eventually slowing down Axie's progress, eventually to the point where Loom gave up on the idea completely or moved another way. And that left Axie in a bad situation. Like they had depended on these guys,
Yeah.
but their system, they weren't as passionate as they were, or they weren't as like they weren't on the same mindset about the future of their product. So then Axie was left in a bad situation. Loom was about to end, and guess what Axie does? And this really pushed them back a long time. But they made their own completely different Ronin network. Like they completely developed all of this, and it was insane. Like to think like how well Ronin works, how efficient it is, how our game has moved away from Ethereum transactions. Like, imagine having to claim your SLP and it costing you $20 to do it on the Ethereum network.
Hmm.
That doesn't exist because they created Ronin. They completely did it themselves because Ronin now tailors towards what Axie needs, not what Loom needed. And that's just amazing. Like, it shows the potential and the tech that Axie works with. They're definitely pioneers in this whole crypto space. And I think Trump is recognized as one of the best developers in blockchain and contracts and stuff. He's like an
Yeah.
insane. He's like a genius guy. He's younger than me. He's such a genius, and I'm always like amazed by that. People don't recognize like when Ronin comes out, like they say like, oh, that's cool. Like they don't. they don't realize how hard it is to do this, how hard it is to add secure things to it. Because like a lot of projects release their product and then it gets hacked, and then you get into this whole problem where everything collapses because they got hacked. But like the Axie team just takes their time, and sometimes taking your time is the best approach for these things. Taking your time to release a quality product takes time. It just
In this
I'd
space,
rather
it's
them
really
take
important. Yeah, it's like
yeah, for sure.
security is paramount. You have to build security into everything because your
Mhm.
user account is your wallet. So
Yeah,
that's really awesome and really convenient. But wow, that's a lot of responsibility. And
for
I
sure.
agree with you completely. I would much prefer to have security be the number one priority over speed. It helps me sleep at night. You know, I've got a
Sure.
lot of stuff on Ronin. I'm a believer. I
Hmm.
certainly don't want to lose those assets, dude. I
Yeah.
feel attached to them. You know, I've got Axie art
Hmm.
on my wall. I look at my four favorite Axies. I look at them every day. I look at my Mystic every day, Chuck. At least every day that I'm home, at least. You know,
Yeah.
and it makes me feel weird sometimes, but I do feel attached to these things like
Hmm.
actual digital pets. You know, it's not the same as a real pet, but
Hmm.
there's some spectrum that exists there. You know, it gives you a partial pet dopamine hit for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I have my mystics too. I need to name them, a lot of them. Like a lot of people give me a lot of grief because I haven't named them. I'm like, I'll get to it. I just need to think of good names for all of them and stuff.
Yeah. I like to let a good name come to me, but it is very satisfying when you do finally choose names for them.
Oh, maybe one of them Zyori Jr. would be really good.
Little Zyori, yeah,
Little Zyori,
Zyori
little.
Light. I like it. No, I'm in. Chuck, I want to wrap this thing up pretty soon here. I really appreciate your time and all
Mhm.
this great storytelling. You have such a robust history, man. This has really been so incredible. You know, you've been doing a lot of streaming. You know, I saw you've been playing some other games beside Axie, like a little Pokemon Unite. I've been playing a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit of that recently as well. It's certainly
Mhm.
a bit of good fun. I need to pop by your stream more often, but any
Mhm.
leaks for us? Like anything? Can you tease like what's coming up for Chuck Fresco? Can you certainly like plug your streams and tell people where to find you?
Oh yeah.
You know, are we going to
Yeah.
see you stream in season 20, tearing up the leaderboards, or what?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Not big things. We're just changing our scholarship to be more focused on acquiring more skilled players. Before the scholarship was more like more simple, the idea, but now we're gonna try to actually go for more skilled players, not to the point of a professional guild, but we're moving in that direction. But if you want to find me, if you're a skilled player that's looking for a new opportunity or a different like place to play, um, just follow me on twitch.tv/ Chuck Fresco. I'm also on YouTube, YouTube./ Chuck Fresco, or on Twitter, where you'll hear me talk about a lot of controversial things. Twitter, with twitter.com/ Chuck Fresco. So that's just my usual. I got all the Chuck Fresco names for all of them.
That's good. I love that when it all lines up. I've got the Zyori TVs everywhere. Back when I started, TV was the
Mhm.
cool thing in esports, and now nobody does TV anymore. And I've thought about changing it, but it's a cool relic of the
Yeah.
past. So I
Hmm.
like Chuck Fresco. It's a cool handle, and it is a good Twitter follower. A follow rather. Chuck is definitely opinionated and not afraid to share those opinions with the world, and that's kind of what Twitter is all about. So keep fighting the good fight, man. I love it.
Before we end, I just wanted to do one last thing
Please.
because I just wanted to give a shout out to my wife, Mrs. Fresco. Without her, my like some wives can be really against crypto, but I met like the perfect person for me to play Axie Infinity. She's definitely supports crypto. Her mind is very open to all these things, and the only reason I was even able to start my scholarship was because of Mrs. Fresco. So shout out to Mrs. Fresco. She always is very supportive and is honestly been the greatest person for me.
Dude, that's amazing. Honestly, that's what the community is all about, and I love hearing support stories like that of folks that aren't in the space, but they're open to the space and they're supportive
Yeah.
of it, and they recognize that even if they don't see it, you see it, and that's just really incredible, man. It brings a smile to
Mhm.
my face. So, Chuck Fresco, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing. Looking forward to seeing everything you create, and when you win season 20, it will certainly bring you back for another episode of Axie Tuesday. So until that
Sure, that's
time,
gonna bite me in the
yeah,
butt.
take care, my friend, and we'll see you in the future for sure.
See ya. Thank you.